Welcome, everybody. Good evening. And we are here day two with NA Amateur Worlds. This is the Gold ELO, and I'm joined tonight by Ride Chains and Moose. I'm Redacted, your host. Fellas, how are we doing tonight?
We are
Um,
dancing, we are grooving, we're here, and I'm cutting my co-caster right off the bat. It's a great day.
Good. We're chilling, man. Excited to be here. Day two. It's my first time being on the cast for Amateur World. So looking to see some good gameplay from each of these teams, and we got a lot of Mint Gaming Rocky Road today.
Yes, we do. I mean, we shunned the ice cream flavored team last week as we did not stream any of their games. But they didn't take it to heart. They just decided we're gonna go 3-0 on the day and call it a fair, and that's what they did. So Mint Gaming Rocky Road 3-0 on day one right now. They are favorites to get out of this group. What are our thoughts about this team so far? Moose, I mean, because Bright Chains really wasn't here, so he doesn't know too much about him. But Moose, you were
Right.
there, so
You
I'll
know, I've
I'll
been
direct that question more so towards you.
I've been here for a little while. I know what's up when it comes to McGaming Rocky Road. I've seen them perform before, and I think that their record speaks for themselves. They've got some of the best players in terms of stats. Looking out of Group A, you got Animantis in the ADC bottom lane,
Mhm.
20-4 in 3 games of play. 20-4. That is less than 2 deaths a game. That's like 1.3 deaths per game for
Mhm.
Animantis and 20 kills. That's, divide that by 3. That's over 6 kills a game. Like, he's dominating literally in every single one of his matches so far. They have continued to impress me from their time in the Aegis Guardians League, and now they're looking to be able to continue to keep that going. My expectation for them,
Mhm.
giving me my caster bias from them being in Guardians League and a team that I casted coming in from that, like, my expectation for them is to go 6-0 today. But I'm also trying to maintain neutrality because I believe that I should be as a caster, but I would be lying if there wasn't some slight, bias towards the team that won the league I was casting.
No, that's totally understandable and that's fair. I mean, the team. I mean, they went 3-0 already, and so it's like, well, it's just confirming some of the things you already knew about them. So that's fair and it's okay that you admitted there's a little bit of bias, but you still gave us a very critical breakdown and whatnot, or what you think about how they would play and how they'll fare throughout the rest of their day and whatnot. So let's just talk about the other teams in this group because once again, we have a three-way tie right now for a second, which creates a lot of interesting scenarios if we get down into the nitty-gritty tiebreakers. But let's start with our first team, Team Kitchen, aka the Chefs. They are our risen reps once again, and they had somewhat of a rough day one, we would say. They dominated their first game against CB Ibiza, had a really close game against TD Aftermath, but they did lose to the Mint Gaming Rocky Road team. So, what are our thoughts on Team Kitchen right now?
I mean, I think obviously it's a new day of League of Legends, right? And
Yeah.
Mid Gaming did kind of just destroy everyone last week. Like you said earlier, they're pretty upset that they didn't get any stream time. So we'll see if they can continue that moving forward. And as Moose said, wouldn't be surprised if they go 6-0. But you know what they say, any team can beat anyone else. And a lot of the times, from what I hear, is that the hardest time to or the hardest game is when you're playing someone that you've already beaten, because you have that pressure on you. So TDA, they could do it. And I mean, they are the underdog. They are one of the underdogs in this group. So
Team Kitchen,
everyone loves
Team
the under.
Chef, Team
Or
Chef.
sorry, Team
You
Kitchen.
good?
Sorry.
Yeah, you good. You good.
Um,
You good.
but yeah, I mean, same thing. They're one of the underdogs in the league, and they can do it. So I mean, I'm sure they have a lot of people rooting for them today.
Yeah. Dubbed for me the meme and dream team. I mean, like I said, they literally have a picture with all their team with their teams, their team members with different chef skins, and they've played this lineup before. I was told, they have the sashimi chef Akali, what is it? The chef Olaf. I don't know the name of
Baker
that
Olaf.
skin. Baker Olaf, Birdie O'Galeo, Pizza Delivery Silver, and Chef Tom Kench. They've ran the lineup before. I'm curious if they'll run it today. I hope they do, but I'm maybe they'll run it once they've ensured that they secure their spot. But maybe they'll play it safe because this is 12.10. It's a different patch, different meta, etc., etc., etc. We all know we've heard how the durability patch has been faring so far across the Rift. So let's get into our next team, Team CB Ibiza. They are also currently 1-2. Losing that first game once again to Team Kitchen, it was a dominating win against them. Then they lost to Mint Gaming, and then they won against Team TD Aftermath. And Moose, I was telling you, I was like looking at the match reporting, and I was just like, I don't remember much about that game. So do you think you could refresh my memory?
Sure. So I mean, going over just CB Ibiza's kind of roster and what they did throughout that week really quickly, I do want to touch on it because it's something that is super great to see. It's super awesome that it was able to happen. Was in CB Ibiza's game against Kitchen. That game was looking good for Kitchen from the start, but they definitely held their own. It actually was the game that gave us our first pentakill of the
Mm.
tournament. That was Rivered being able to come in, gets a pentakill, and that was definitely like a really big moment there for Chef and for them to be able to take that first game. But CB Ibiza, they have the opportunity here with their play against TDA, which
Mm-hmm.
didn't go as I don't think they went as planned for either team. They were able to eventually figure it out the longer that the game went on with some good mid to late game strategy, which was I think pivotal to their to
Mm-hmm.
their to their win. But what we really need to see, I think, from CB Ibiza here in game or in this day two is a better understanding of the laning phase. I think that they really put themselves behind the eight ball in the two games that we casted with suboptimal laning, suboptimal
Mm-hmm.
ganks, and it was only in the pivotal team fight moments when they were able to go into those 5v5s that they actually performed well. But if they can get into a good laning phase early on, it definitely will give them a better chance to be able to take wins here today.
Got it. Yeah, that you know what? Now when as you were mentioning all that, it did come back to me a bit about that last game because I was just like, you know, I don't really recall too much what happened, but they somehow eked out a win. And yeah, I remember it was a lot of team fights. I was looking at the team composition. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I remember that game because that was the Zach game with the Cassidin and everything like that. So yeah, that was quite an interesting game. And I definitely can agree with all those points you made. They were very valid. And then that would just let us transition into our last team that we already kind of talking about, Team TD Aftermath, our last team that is also 1-2 on the standings currently. They lost to Mint Gaming in their first match. They won against Team Kitchen. Once again, that was a very tightly contested game. Either team could have won that game. Um, and then they did lose to Team CB Ibiza for game 3. So what do we see? What do we think about Teams TD Aftermath chances of getting out this group so far? Right, Chance, let's start with you.
I mean, again, this is another underdog story. I talked about, this is the slip up that actually came out earlier on, but TD Aftermath, I think they do have it in them. They have some decent stats looking at just the rosters, and they did play some subs last week.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're able to get their full team comp together, and their full starting rosters, I think they could definitely put up a solid fighting chance against Mint Gaming here, but a lot of the time, we don't know the starting rosters yet, so we'll kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah. Moose.
I think for TD Aftermath, I don't know if they got into their heads in the game that we were able to cast for them, but it definitely was another one of those opportunities where it felt as though they weren't quite in their groove, and like you stated earlier, there were subs that were put in throughout the game. I think it was just more a scheduling issue rather than anything there. But regardless of that, putting subs into your team and having that kind of mismatch, not being able to get warmed up in round one and then being able to carry that over into round two, round three is definitely like a tough situation to be in. But with that being said, they do have, I think, the opportunity to make it happen. If I had to put predictions, like if I had to put a prediction between TD Aftermath, CDA Ibiza, and Chef on who would
Get out.
make it into the playoffs,
Hmm.
I think that at this point, considering that it is kind of like a rock paper scissors triangle zone that we've got between all three of these teams, that it can really go either way, and it's going to boil down to who's able to get warmed up, who's able to have the better communication and the better fundamentals in these original games, so that if and inevitably we do get into tiebreakers, they are prepared and ready to go. Because I mean, that is where it could potentially count for these teams being that wild card in this group.
Understood. Yeah, and that's you make a very valid point there, Moose, and it has me really excited because once again, like three teams, and we have the tiebreaker scenarios in front of us that I'm constantly looking over right now, messing with the tool here and everything. Like, okay, so if TDA win, what does that look like versus just by the way, for our viewers at home, I already checked, and I'm double checking like right now as we speak. Even if Mint Gaming go 0-3 on the day, they still force tiebreakers with every other team. So there's still hope for that team, regardless of how they finish. But if they even just win their first game, they should be pretty much set into the playoffs for Group A, and you know, not sweating the rest of their games. But I'm sure they'll still want to win and, have that bragging rights to say, yeah, we went 6-0 in groups. Like, what's up? Um, but so let's just move on. Let's talk about the meta a little bit. This is now week 2, week 3, I think, of 12-10. What are our thoughts now as we are further along into this meta and everything like that? Do we think we'll see any Olaf top finally, like from these teams? I'm surprised nobody whipped it out last week.
Honestly, I haven't even seen any Olaf top either. So I don't know what games you're playing in or what games you're watching, but I haven't seen it either.
I've
And
seen it in
from
solo queue, bro. That I was gonna say something else. That champion is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard you talk about it, it seems like a menace. And I maybe we'll see it today. I've seen a lot of Jax being very strong right now. Wukong as well. Just a lot of these like kind of bruiser, like brawler type champions in the top
Mhm.
lane. A lot of value there. And then when it comes to just playing in the bottom lane for AD carries, a lot of hyper scaling characters because the durability patch gives them a little bit more beefiness in the early game, they can survive it a little bit easier and sort of get up into that late game to scale and come online after like two or three items.
Gotcha,
I
gotcha.
I'm gonna go with a different take here. I'm under the opinion that gold level players, even platinum level players, shouldn't be looking at the meta for their decisions in champions. Play to your strengths, play to your comfort picks, and make sure that you're able to execute upon your champion very, very well. Yes, Olaf is very strong, but players that play Olaf understand how far they can go without, getting chunked down. Like, you want to be able to get as low as you can to get that extra attack speed, to get that extra life steal, and you want to be playing on the razor's edge. If your jungler or your top laner don't actually know how to do that, Olaf isn't that strong. He isn't that good. If you can't land those axes and get that refresh, Olaf is not going to win you the game despite being a strong champion right now in this meta. I would much rather prefer players play to their strengths, play comfort picks that they know that they're going to be able to pull out and play well regardless of the meta so that they
Mhm.
can win it. If if Olaf's in that wheelhouse, then great, but don't play a pick just because someone says that it's good.
No, absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree. I totally agree. And, that's a very valid point. And we saw that last week. A lot of the teams, even though, there were some very interesting picks in the meta that are being used very religiously right now, for lack of a better term. We saw Cho'Gath, we saw Cassidins, and just different. I think there at one point there was a Sivir or something or Twitch that was played that you just didn't really see in the meta, but these players are still picking picks that they're comfortable with and that they know how to pilot well. So, no, that's a very valid point, and that's a good point. And at the end of the day, yeah, like just because some champions are being more used than other champions doesn't mean that this champion can't necessarily win you the game. You just have to ensure you know how to play around it and whatnot like that. So let's just talk about our matchup for the night right now. Let's get into that before we get into draft here because I know we're almost ready here in the lobby. So we have Mint Gaming Rocky Road against TD Aftermath as our first match of the night. What are our thoughts into this match and what are our predictions for who's going to win this match? Moose, we'll start with you.
Sure. I think that the big opportunity here for Mint Gaming Rocky Road has been the kind of coordination that we see on the top side of the rift. Animantis and Slytorque are able to, I think, work really well together on their own, but it really is facilitated by Thunder McBusters and some of the early game junglers that he likes to play, and he's able to coordinate that really well into early first bloods, early objectives, and a snowball styled composition that Mint Gaming Rocky Road now, is able to utilize to be able to win games very quickly. You look at their games so far, they haven't been able to do that quite yet. Their
Hmm.
average game time is around 34 minutes, but they can work really, really well into the early to mid game to be able to get that scaling, to be able to move forward and to get that strong push. So really pay attention to the top side of the rift when it comes to Mint Gaming Rocky Road. As for Chef, I mean, I think all eyes are
TD
on.
Aftermath.
Oh,
TDA.
TD
oh,
Aftermath, yeah.
TDA. Pardon me, pardon
TDA,
me.
yeah. You're
Yeah,
good.
no, I think that let me refresh my train of thought. But I think that the expectation here, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Convey is going to be able to react to this. Let's find out how he's going to, respond to potentially some early pressure from Thunder McBusters, and is he going to be able to stop that from going? I think that was something that TD Aftermath kind of lacked. They didn't necessarily get the good early kills that they needed. And if they're not able to stop the snowball from TD or from Mint Gaming Rocky Road, I don't know if TD Aftermath is going to be able to get to a mid game state where they can perform well.
Okay. So Mint Gaming for Moose here. Right, Chains, what about your predictions?
So I'm looking at the lobby right now, and I am seeing that we have Ikazuki Ikazuchi in the top lane for TDA
Mm,
and Solus in the bottom lane. So another sub coming in for TD Aftermath. And I'm looking to see this game if this bottom lane can stand up to the Mint Gaming Rocky Road bottom lane. I'm looking at the stats here, and the Mint Gaming bottom lane is number 1 and 3 when it comes to stats. The AD and support are highest and third highest stats in or through day one at least. So if they're able to exploit this sub coming out of TD Aftermath, I think that Mint Gaming can definitely run over this game, and I think a lot of that, like Moose said, is going to come through Convey, and we'll basically see if Convey is able to react, play to this bottom side, help out this lane if they need it. And if not, if the TDA bottom lane is able to win on their own, then they're looking really, really good here. But for predictions, I'm gonna give it to them. I'm gonna believe in TDA here, and I'm gonna say that they're gonna take this game.
righty. Well, we will find out here shortly as we are now ready for draft. So I'm going to pass it off to Moose and Right Chains for draft of this first game of the night, Mint Gaming Rocky Road versus TD Aftermath.
Thanks so much, Redacted. And like Redacted said, day two, the group stage of Amateur Gold Worlds has now begun, and we are getting into it. Mint Gaming Rocky Road over on the blue side, TD Aftermath in the red. And some of these comfort picks that we've seen played out by these two teams before are getting banned. The Kane and the Gangplank, topside bans getting taken away by Mint Gaming Rocky Road. TD Aftermath responding with the Kog'Maw and the Senna, focusing in on that bottom lane.
Yeah, and I think these are really good picks just to kind of protect that bottom lane. You don't want to give the strongest bottom lane in the league their comfort champions, and I think taking away the Senna and the Kog'Maw, two very high priority champions for Animantis and Slide Torque, is going to be really, really good. But the Jinx first pick coming out from Mint Gaming Rocky Road is something that we haven't seen in a little bit.
Yeah, I think Jinx still can perform really well here, and I think it complements well with the bands that Rocky Road has been going for. The Gangplank, the Kane, and the Kale, all scaling mid to late game champions that can just obliterate the Jinx if you're able to get to that back line and beat her up. So taking that away is kind of signaling to me the Mint Gaming Rocky Road is looking to be able to play towards the mid to late game, scale up nicely, and we're gonna have to see how they're gonna be able to facilitate that with the Viego and the Swain getting locked in. The Nautilus coming through. I love the pickup with the Jinx. It has so much synergy and get some of that front line as well.
Yeah, absolutely. With the Jinx pick, you need to have Peel. I mean, we saw a lot of pro players be picking like Tom Kench with the Jinx. But Nautilus is a great one as well. I mean, like you said, so much CC on this champ, so much ability to peel. And when you have Viego going to be diving onto Jinx here and trying to deal that damage out, having the depth charge, having the dredge line is going to be super crucial to help Animantis actually stay alive in this lane. And then pair that up with the Lilia here as the third pick. Pretty interesting, and even adding even more CC to the mix.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. I think, for Thunder Big Busters, I think that it can still work well into the early to mid game, but you're really looking to get level 6 to find that lilting lullaby. Regardless of that, you do have plenty of setup already in the bottom side of the rift with the Jinx and the Nautilus, and they're looking to ban out, it looks like, some of those champions that could potentially get away from that. The Tristana is not going to be available, nor is the Samira. Two champions that can block the Swirl Seed, block the Dredge line, and really pinching the bottom lane here in the second phase of picks and bans.
Yeah, and I mean these bans make so much sense here because Rel, obviously a champion who can engage at will. Speaking of another champion that can engage very effectively is the Vex. And that's going to be picked up there by TD Aftermath, giving last pick to bottom lane unless it's Swain bot. I mean, I guess it could be right with the Vex locked in.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So Swain likely to be taken into this bottom lane, and I mean, either way, I still like the bans because anytime you can get a Tristana or a Samira in onto, the enemy bottom lane, it's not gonna be a fun time for you. And so taking away those bans, especially paired with Rail, is very solid. Fiora is now the pick for Mint Gaming Rocky Road, and I assume that'll be taken into the top lane by fifth. What do you think about that pick? I mean, it seems a little bit, I guess it is specking more into that late game, scaling team composition that we talked about.
I would say so. I think that it is a come at me, bro situation here from fifth, because
Oh,
you do have that opportunity to get that very feast or famine champion that can 1v9 team fights if you're able to get ahead, and Fiora is able to do just that. I actually also like the pick here from the Silas, going and putting that into the mid lane against the Vex. If you're able to land the Abduct and the Abscond to be able to get the stun into Kingslayer, you're going to be able to get good trades in the early game, and you do have some really strong ultimates at your disposal. You've got the Demonic Ascension from the Swain, even the Magnet Storm from Rel is going to be somewhat powerful, but I'm really looking at the Shadow Surge coming
yeah.
through from the Vex. But TD Aftermath, they are looking to initiate and stick to the backline. They've got so many ways to get to the backline and stay there with this composition.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of dive opportunities here. Rel going into the back line, Vex going to the back line, and then Viego, as I talked about a little bit earlier. And I think this is really, this is kind of what you expect if you're Mint Gaming. If you're going to first pick this Jinx, is that the other team is going to try and dive onto you, and they're going to want to kill that Jinx because, Jinx is very vulnerable champion, doesn't have any built in movement or anything like that, just the traps. And I imagine we'll be going for a Gale Force this game. I mean, just because of all the dive that's coming in. But yeah, a lot of dive from TD Aftermath and some peel on Mint Gaming, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Mint Gaming Rocky Road really looking at fifth, this top lane matchup is I really think going to be the X factor here for both of these teams. Whoever's going to be able to come out ahead between either this, what I assume is going to be a Swain top lane, or maybe it's a Vayne top lane to go up against the Fiora. We'll find out momentarily, but regardless of that, whatever one of these carry top laners are able to get ahead first, I think is going to really decide how the match plays out. Really quickly, do want to discuss some of the stats here between Ikazuki and fifth. We have a 3-8 line, which I believe is only 2 games from fifth on Mid Gaming Rocky Road. You've got Ikazuki 17 and 11 with a 50% kill participation. So definitely a bigger, I think, data log for Ikazuki here, but I know that fifth is definitely very competent on a lot of these Feast or Famine champions. It's going to be a really, really fun top lane game.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you see the vein picked up in this top lane, and we see that now as it is locked in for now in this client draft. But anytime you see a vein in the top lane, you know it's gonna be a fire one. You know it's gonna be fun. And I'm kind of wondering if Thunder McBuster is gonna try and get up into this top lane to punish this vein, because obviously if you can put this vein behind, you're gonna feel really, really good about your chances. If you're mint gaming, you have the Fiora in the side lane, and if Vayne doesn't get strong, I guess Swain can match in the side lane, but it might be hard to contain this Fiora as you move forward into the game.
So I got to ask you now, looking at both of these teams, we kind of touched on it a little bit before, where you do have this really strong five-man dive composition from TDA that can be utilized. I want to talk now about this lineup from Mid Gaming Rocky Road. What is the mid to late game objective you think that Rocky Road is trying to go for in this draft?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think the biggest thing that Rocky Road wants to do is not get engaged on 5v5. Obviously, with the Fiora's gonna want to be sitting in that side lane looking for the split push. Not the most potent team fighting champion, but is pretty strong in the side lane. You can get those isolated 1v1s or 1v2s. Obviously, for mid gaming, you do not want to get caught in this engage from TD Aftermath. And if they can play it so that they're safe enough to not get full engaged on, but also playing aggressive enough to not allow TD Aftermath to basically just run and punish this Fiora who's been split pushing. That's kind of their sweet spot. But it's a very hard composition to play, especially in this elo. Playing with that split pusher.
Indeed, exactly. Looking at the Fiora really quickly on the OP.GG, in the recent matches played, there is some Fiora there, but there are a total of 22 games played with that in Season 12 in terms of ranked games with a 1.81 KDA. So this isn't like an out of the blue champion
Yeah.
for fifth here. This is something that, they have played a little while. They know what's going on. So I think that we're gonna get to see whether or not it is going to be effective, and this is only game one for Mint Gaming Rocky Road today. We still have 2 more games left after this one, and they're gonna be highlighted here on the stream. That's gonna give not only us the opportunity to see what they're capable of, but then also the other teams that are looking to potentially win this tournament a little bit more insight into what Mint Gaming Rocky Road is able to bring to the table, because there are some sharks that are in Group B that are waiting to play in the semifinal round. But we still have a long way to go before we get there, and I'm really curious to see if we can get the Mint Gaming Rocky Road to get that 4th win, or will it be that upset? Will we see TD Aftermath, be able to take this win, giving them a really good chance of being one of those teams that does make it into the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I said in the analyst desk, I'm feeling TDA has this one if they can play correctly. I think their comp is easier to execute, and I think if any slight misstep from Mint Gaming can be exploited pretty heavily. So
Fair enough. Now, what I'd like to do with all my co-casters before we begin the match, we still got about 90 seconds before the spectator delay, is I want to know what is your 1 and 5 prediction for the Mountain Soul and Rift for game 1. I need to know what your prediction is going to be here, Rye.
wow. So the order of the dragons, or just what soul we're gonna get?
Just what soul?
I feel like I've gotten Cloud Soul in like every single game I've played, so I feel like that I think it's gonna be Cloud Soul today.
Heck yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's double down. We're gonna go for a double down here at the caster desk. Cloud Soul for game one. Looking
Let's
forward
go.
to it. We're gonna take a quick break before we jump into game one, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. We got game one here between Mint Gaming Rocky Road over on the blue side versus TD Aftermath on the red. As we get ourselves two 5-man death brushes here. On the opposite side of the rifts, we can get started with the teams. You got Fifth as the Fiora, Thunder McBusters as the Lilia, Kanye as the Silas, Adamantis and Slytorque in your bottom lane as the Jinx and the Nautilus. A really fun composition that's gonna be looking to potentially get some side lane pressure.
Absolutely. And for TDA, we got Ikazuki on the Vayne in the top lane, Convey on Viego in the jungle, Buckbee on Vex in the mid lane, and Solus and the Fat Jester rounding it out with the Swain and the Rel in the bottom lane. A little bit of 5v5 team fight action for this composition, trying to get into the back lines. And for the time being, both of these junglers going to start on their bottom sides and look to make some uh presence in that top lane.
Yeah, I think I think the expectation for both of these teams is Thunder McBusters wants to get Fifth off on the right foot, and Conde wants to deny any early kills by being there and providing some protection to Izuki so that the Vayne can start to get ahead and get some damage in, because the trading is just going to be scary as heck. Scary as heck for Fifth if you are able to get onto it. But, that's the name of the game here. We're getting trading early on. Solus is going to be able to get hit by that dredge line. As we get to take a look at some of the keystones. You've got Aftershock locked in for Slytorque, and then Glacial Augment coming in for Fat Jester. What's your thoughts on that as we get another gank to come through, or another dredge line, pardon me.
Oh. Yeah, and I mean, I think with a lot of these engaged supports, you can kind of go with either. It just depends on what you want to do, right? For Rel, you have so much CC that this Glacial is basically just going to lock your target in place for an eternity. Once you get in, with the jump, you have the Glacial. It's an extra slow and it reduces damage. So, I mean, it does look pretty good for this Rel here, and I'm not against it, but here we go.
Yeah, Adamantis going to be exhausted, and Ignited Solus is going to flash forward, and Adamantis is indeed in trouble. First blood going to go over to Solus as the Swain. As we look to get the sidestep from Slytorque, he still has flash to potentially get away, but he indeed do so. First blood over to TDA.
Yeah, crucial claw there coming in from Solus, connecting, and it kind of just it makes Fat Jester's job easy, right? You have a CC target, can jump in, get the knockup, get the stun, get the Glacial, and that's a dead Jinx.
Exactly, and that's going to be huge here for TD Aftermath, because you want Adamantis to get ahead, and now he's feeling pretty behind, but the play is now topside is here. Convey is going to get hit by the Abscon and the Abduct, but the Fear is going to come through. Not going to be able to land the W from Thunder McBusters, and he goes down. Kanye in trouble. The Swirl Seed will land, and it is a disastrous start for Mint Gaming Rocky Road, as 4 already dead. A trade in the top lane.
Yeah, a trade going through in that top lane there. Just fighting all around in this top side, going crazy. And Convey was 1 HP in that play. Convey, yes, was 1 HP in that play. And Kanye tried to flash and finish him off, but but Thunder McBusters died just a little too quickly there, and got the give Convey the reset. So that was enough here, Jester.
Wow, Slytorque is going to be in trouble, going to be hit by the full crash down from Fat Jester, going to be down to 1 HP himself. But he will survive. I just noticed that, actually. Kanye and Convey, it's so close. As Adamantis gets hit by another crash down, and the full combo from Fat Jester. This is not going the way, I think, that Mint Gaming Rocky Road had planned.
No, definitely, but it is kind of, what you expect if you're playing the Jinx, right? And this is a very, very potent bottom lane that TDA has put together with the Swain and the Rel. And I think there's a lot of snowball potential here and a lot of CC. So Adamantis has to dodge so many abilities, and that claws coming from Swain every 10 seconds or whatever. And if you get hit by that, I mean, you're gonna have to burn a summoner spell. So
Yeah, interesting take there, I think, from Fat Jester. I do want to point this out because I think that it was maybe a mistake, but Fat Jester is going to stay in lane. Maybe looking to be able to set up for Dragon, but they've got 800 gold in the bank. Like they are trying to they are Mr. Moneybags when it comes to support. So instead of going back, is going to decide to help out Convey with that Dragon. I think it is kind of the Lily attack. You don't normally get first objectives, and it is indeed not going to be over to McGaming Rocky Road as a Mountain Drake is spawned here for Dragon number 2, which means that the prediction of the Cloud Soul is still on the table there, Rye.
let's go. We got a what 33% chance.
Yep.
I believe we got this here, and first dragon going over is kind of what we expect here, just because of that bottom lane priority and advantage. But here we go in the top lane.
Wow, the watch out Eep getting maximum damage, and Ikazuki is now on the ropes. Good guy, Lilia giving Fifth the kill.
Yeah, perfect there. I mean, and you see the wave, just the wave positioning there. Ikazuki has to push that in and try and crush it. Otherwise, Fifth is gonna freeze for an absolute eternity there, and Ikazuki's gonna lose the entire game. So nice job by Thunder McBusters being there, being ready, and recognizing that this wave has to crash. Otherwise, it's really bad for the enemy. Hex Flash.
Oh, okay, Slytorque is okay. But they do know that Thunder McBusters was topside, so they can kind of get away with being a little bit more aggressive here. As the chains do land, and it's going to be a 3v2. Adamantis getting hit by the Shadow Surge will be with 1 kill and a second hit with that Shadow Surge. Looking potentially for the second one as the Falcon Talons of Noxus will come through. Bucky with a clean double kill.
Yeah, and I just mentioned this in the top side where Ikazuki had to push that lane in. He was slow pushing a big wave. Same thing just happened in the bottom lane. Buckby recognizing that Adamantis and Slytorque want to push this wave in and get their reset. A beautiful roam timing there, and you're reaping the benefits if you're Vex right now.
Yeah, let's take a look at gold really quickly as well, hold that thought. Kanye, pardon me, is potentially in trouble as we do get the double heartbreaker here as Kanye tries to be able to get away, but Thunder McBusters can't quite get there quickly enough. Conway is going to get hit by the turret, and the dredge line will come through. Meanwhile, on the top side of the Rift, Fifth is going to go up against Ikazuki as the Grand Challenge gets dropped. Final hour as well. The vital points are coming through. Fifth is going to take it and will be on a killing spree. It is a 2-for-1 special across the Rift in favor of Rocky Road.
Yeah, 2-for-1 in favor of Rocky Road there. The gold lead's still in favor of TDA, about 2,000. And that just comes from the few kills, that dragon, and I guess some CS in the bottom lane. But either way, Solus now could be in trouble.
Yeah, getting hit by the root, gonna be forced to flash, but the dredge line will land. Unfortunately, the CC was used by Adamantis before, so they can't quite follow up with that kill. But taking a look now at the gold, you've got a 1,100 gold advantage for Buckby in the mid lane. Kanye is not having a good time as the Silas so far. It's definitely not the situation that you want to be in if you are McGaming Rocky Road, because it looks like they are going to lose their second neutral objective.
Oh!
Shadow Surge is going to get missed.
Yeah, and you saw the blood in Fat Jester's eyes there on that engage. Has the Magnet Storm available, was ready for the highlight play, but just missing out a little bit, and the Herald is going to go over to TDA. And that's going to be their second neutral objective of the game. And Convey looking really, really strong on this Viego, just kind of being all around the map.
I agree. I'm very impressed with the ganks that he's had. Yes, he kind of got punished with a very aggressive play in the mid lane, thanks to a miracle dredge line from Slytorque. But Despite that, I think that he has performed extremely well. He's on his way to his Divine Sunder and is going to be looking to make something happen here, I think, relatively soon in the top lane. As Fifth
Ooh.
is now in a bad position, going to flash forward and is going to get into the waiting arms of Convey. Fifth is trying to get the healing in, but no. Expertly managed there by TDA.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of an interesting interaction there as Ikazuki pressed the condemn, and then as it was in the air, Fifth flashed behind him and got knocked back sort of into that tower range. And at that point, you're just a little bit too deep there. And with Convey being there, it made it really easy to pick up that kill. But just a little bit of unfortunateness for Fifth there, and the Herald gonna be spawned in this top lane, and this is gonna take the entire first tower. So a huge gold influx for Ikazuki in this top lane, and the gold lead is now increased to 4.3k in favor of TDA.
Yeah, I mean, Convey now Mr. Moneybags, 4,600 gold here on Viego at 11 minutes is a really strong stat line to start things off, and that's going to be Divine Sunder as well as upgraded boots out of that buy, as we are going to get play now in the bottom lane. As we get Thunder Big Busters coming through, does have the Lullaby available and is going to land it, but Solus comes through with a massive Shadow Surge, going to be able to get some damage, but Kanye going to follow suit as well with a Shadow Surge of their own. Going to be in for a 2v2 so far, making it a 3v2. As we've got Convey now in the wings, looking to be able to get something in. Fifth is going to teleport forward and is now looking to try to do what they can, but no avail. Buckby and Convey will survive that play, making it a 4-for-2 trade. TDA favored.
That was a huge team fight coming out for both of these squads here. You know, extended 5v5, and it was just a battle. A lot of huge AoE abilities coming through, but TD Aftermath is victorious. There is some big plays from Convey and Buckby. I mean, Convey taking out 2 on the backside, Buckby hitting a huge Shatter Surge and Fear combination there. So definitely good looks for them. And off the back of that play, they're going to be able to secure the dragon. Unfortunately, looks like it's going to be Hex Gates, but looking for more in the bottom lane.
Yeah, a non-stop action as a depth charge will get used. Slidestroke trying to be able to get away. Fat Jester, though, going to be in trouble, and Ikazuka is going to land right into the chompers, looking to be able to potentially pick up a kill here with that final hour. Thunder McBusters is the target. The true damage pops, but it's not quite enough to get rid of Thunder McBusters. Slidestroke will flash away, and now potentially a turnaround here for Mint Gaming Rocky Road. Kanye is full HP in potentially a 3v1 situation, but Buckby is on the way with that Shadow Surge. Heartbreaker is going to be used. Kanye is all alone. Oh no, it's disaster, but the zap lands thanks to the invulnerability from Convey, but they overextend, and it's going to be multiple kills for Buckby once again. Now 5-0 and 6.
And it is all TD Aftermath off the back of all of these plays. Just able to execute it a little bit better there, and having the numbers advantage definitely helped. Fifth still being in that top lane, pushing away, and Buckby and Convey again just going massive in these plays, dealing so much damage. And, you know, Kanye, a little bit of over-aggression there, running into 5 people, but either way, TD is capitalizing and now are in really solid position in this game.
I agree. I mean, 6,000 gold in the advantage. They've got Boardwalk, they've got Park Place, they've got all of the high value properties, and their items are showing it right now. You've got 3 mythic items unlocked, as well as a Rylai's Crystal Scepter for Solus. Looking at the gold graphs, everyone is in a massive lead. Over 1,000 gold advantage for all of the carries beside support here in the favor of TD Aftermath. What a phenomenal start for them. And, you know, in most cases, this could potentially just be a game over situation for Mint Gaming Rocky Road, but it is a gold level game. Anything can still happen, and you've got to be careful. If TD Aftermath gets too egregious with their plays, they could potentially fall short in this battle and the end.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunities for TDA to throw this game. Aggressing too far forward here. We'll see a little play in this river.
Oh no, Thunder McBuster's the one that actually goes forward, and Convey's on a rampage. Meanwhile, Kanye is going to move in up against Ikazuki as fifth is now potentially going to be the target gate away from the slow of the Heartbreaker, but Ikazuki will take the kill in the 2v1 in the river. So will fifth fall, and the gold lead just continues to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and they're really starting to run away with this game, and this is kind of what I talked about in the Champion Select, right? Is the ease of execution of the TD aftermath combo. It's just easier to play. You know what I mean? Just run at the enemy, press your R keys, and good things will happen for the most part. The exhaust coming in really crucial here, but Dredgeline in the mid lane.
This is not a play that I don't think Rocky Road wants to go for. Solus is going to be in to the Demonic Ascension, but the Lilting Lullaby will land. Solus is now so low, and the shutdown is going to be massive here. Going to be the second kill of the game for Animantis, picking up some nice change in that play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what Solus was doing there, but I mean, we talked about it. There's still some throw opportunities. That is one of them right there. Just getting picked, overextending in mid lane, in any lane even. But nonetheless, huge advantages across the map. Dragon spawning in 45 seconds. The Herald is up. They still have about 3 minutes to take that one down before it goes away. But I would have to imagine that, the next sort of plays for this TDA team is just kind of stack these dragons, right? Hextech Soul, highest win rate soul in the game right now. So you know that if you're gonna be able to secure that soul, you have great chances of winning, and they've set themselves up for great chances of winning as of now. Huge gold lead, about 7.5K in favor there. Dragon spawning, and we're seeing everyone gonna be down into this bot side river besides Fifth, who's still pushing away in the top lane.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a battle that Rocky Road even wants to go for in the Dragon, because they just are so far behind and there's no teleport available, but Slidestruck's going to get caught out of position and will have to flash away. Fifth without teleport for a little while. Dragon is now up, all 5 members of TDA in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this should just be a free dragon. I mean, it was a free dragon anyway, but burning Nautilus Flash just makes it easier. Herald gonna be spawned up in this bottom lane. Wait. Yeah, they took it earlier. I don't know what I was saying about the Herald earlier, but Dragon spawned up is gonna be taken down, and that's gonna be a soul point now for TD Aftermath. Feeling really good, and looks like they're just gonna take their recalls and try to redo their lane assignments here. They have a lot of gold to spend. Actually not that much gold to spend, but still want to buy some items there, and I think at this point, as long as they're not overextending and just like straight inting, they should be able to win every single one of these team fights.
Yeah, I want to point out something that TD Aftermath is doing really, really well here in this play is, even before the Dragon came through, look at the vision on the bottom side of the map that they were able to drop down really deep into enemy territory. That's partly thanks to the mid lane tier 1 tower being down. It just made that Dragon just so much safer. It made it so that Fat Jester was able to get into the jungle to be able to get that crash down, which resulted in Slidetorque not having his flash available. So there's just so much that I've been impressed with so far in this game by TD Aftermath that it's going to take some really bad misplays, I think, at Baron for them to lose this game. They're behind. They're ahead by 7,000 gold. They've got Soul Point ready to go. The Hex Gates allowing them to snowball this game even further. It's looking really, really good for them, and I'm very impressed with their performance.
Yeah, and most importantly, with Convey, the performance of Convey, really, really massive in this game. Does have 12 out of the 19 kill participation there, and that's the most in the game. Convey's been all over the place this game, and 7, 1, and 5. The scoreline does show that, but we'll see, as Thunder could be in trouble.
Yeah, Tract Repel is going to land, and that's just an easy kill for Convey, who's now dominating. 8, 1, and 5 on the Viego is, really just stealing the hearts and souls of Rocky Road right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's on brand just like his champ does. Rest of the team are just gonna be pushing out in these lanes, trying to get some pressure in this top lane as the Baron's gonna be spawning in about 30 seconds. It's probably going to be the likely the next point of contention, or and it's not even contention really. It's just when does TDA want to actually hit the objective?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm biased somewhat towards Rocky Road, I don't want to count them out, but this is a good opportunity
Oh,
to see how they're going to be able to come back from behind, and they are going to be looking to go for a play here. Fat Jester is going to be the target. Ikazuki is going to take down fifth as a teleport now coming through from Kanye. Ikazuki is going to be so... And then Lilting Lolo is going to land onto two. Convey going to be using the Heartbreaker to potentially stop the sleep, and does do so for a long time. Gonna get shut down though, and this is the bounce back that you needed to see from from Mid Gaming Rocky Road. TDA completely collapsed in the jungle, 4 for 1.
oh my goodness. A 4-for-1 for Mint Gaming, and Solus not there for the fight. I'm not sure why they wanted to go for that, why they were positioning so aggressively 4v5. But either way, oh, the snipe comes through from Solus with that eye is going to take down Thunder and make it 4 for 2 in the extended play. But I just don't, I can't think of why they were, that far forward. 1,000 gold going over to Kanye on the Silas is going to feel really, really nice. That payday was much needed for Mint Gaming, and now they're still down a decent bit, but this relieves the pressure so much. That big team fight win relieves so much of this pressure, and it's going to allow them to actually step forward and get some vision at least, and regain some control.
You know what that was, Rai? That was a pure case of commentator's blessing.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I call me COD or something, because I bring miracles to Rocky Road right now. But despite that, though, game is still not in their control. They're behind by 5K. They have a massive uphill battle that they have to come through. But yes, they do get a good play, and they now have the opportunity to kind of flex their muscles a little bit here in the side lanes. Looking at the gold really, really quickly, because of those shutdowns, Kanye is now in even gold contention with Buckpea as the Vex, who's 5-1-6. So you definitely are feeling good in terms of that, but you look in the jungle, it's still a 3,000 gold advantage for Thunder McBusters. It's still a 1,000 gold advantage for Solus on the Swain against Adamantis, and it's going to take another one of those plays to potentially get those cleaned up as well.
Yeah, and I think, with this Hextech Soul potentially for TD Aftermath spawning here, you can already see they're already in this lane, but Solus face checking in into 4.
Oh no, it's disaster once again. The team fights for TD Aftermath are just going into Rocky Road's favor. Buckbee wasn't even close to the fight without teleport, and that's gonna be soul point potentially being here for Rocky Road. Convey's gonna try to go for it. He wants to try to make it happen, but he doesn't get it. He's gonna try to get away using the Heartbreaker, but he's gonna fall as well. That's 3 down for TD Aftermath.
And that's the dragon going over, delaying the soul, and it's gonna be Baron 2 with Convey going down again. TD Aftermath is not all there, ready for the play, and Solus just steps up and gets one-shotted in the middle of 5 people. Mint Gaming back in the game, and they're gonna be wearing purple here, unless some miracle happens, but they should be wearing purple, and just a collapse, like you said.
Yeah, Magnetor's gonna come through as the Silasar's going in on the Buckbee. Kanye will go down, but Buckbee is gonna be in trouble, gonna fall along with Fat Jester, which makes it a 2 for 1. The rest of Mint Gaming Rocky Road will be wearing purple. They are royalty right now. Call them Mint Gaming Rockin' Royalty, because they are bringing this game back to within 2,000.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like that, it's a brand new game. Kanye, with his newfound paycheck, decides that he's going to go take a vacation somewhere else. Has disconnected from the game for now. Oh, I guess he's back. I think they didn't really have... it wasn't too much of a pause there, but
Sure.
nonetheless, I mean, this has been an exciting game 1. And we're only 24 minutes in. There's still a lot of game left to be played tonight. Now, Mid Gaming pushing down this mid lane, wearing purple, trying to get some gold back in their pockets. Some of this standing gold with these outer towers. And for the time being, in the mid lane, the wave clear's enough, but bottom lane will fall to 5th.
Yeah, I think it's a good representation of what we've seen from them in Worlds so far. They have one of the longest game times in the game. They're playing towards the mid to late game here in this composition, and now they have the opportunity to go for it. The shadows. It's going to land on Animantis. He will get shut down. Meanwhile, Slidetorque's going to come through. Thundermic Busters is in trouble. Convey will take that one, as Kanye is going to be using the teleport, going to try to come in, get some kills, going to get hit by the Apollo and retract, and Convey will get a double kill. Slidetorque's in trouble. He's going to fall to Ikazuki, and that is 4 down for McGaming Rocky Road.
And there it is. They're back. They figured out how to team fight. They figured out that, hey, guys, if we want to win the team fights, we should play when we have numbers advantage, not when we have numbers disadvantage. And there you saw it there. 4-0 in favor of Mint Gaming, and they're going to be breaking down mid. Tier 2 is going to fall, and Ikazuki's going to go into that bottom lane and just repel the push from 5th. But either way, gold back in their pockets, and the gold lead has doubled back up to about 4K. And crucially, just at the start of that fight, Animantis getting caught with the Shadow Surge and just getting absolutely one-shotted. That can't happen if you're Mint Gaming. You need the Jinx to go crazy, pop off, get all that AoE damage out, get excited, and take over the team fights. And if you're getting caught, that's not going to happen. So good job there by Buckby, finding the pick, finding the opportunity. But Animantis does need to be a little more careful with that positioning.
I agree. Like that, Buckby was able to find the play, and we'll hold that thought though. As 5th is potentially in trouble. No, it's actually Ikazuki that's in trouble. Pardon me. That's a 4v1. He's going to get shut down, and that's a 43-second death timer with Dragon spawning in a minute 20.
That was so sad. Ikazuki's trying to run, just tumbles into the bush and gets smacked in the face with an anchor. Unlucky there, but a little bit overextended there. TP was used, so, it wasn't for free. That kill wasn't for free, but it is going to cede a lot of this control in this bottom side river for TD Aftermath. Is, numbers advantage back for Mint. And I guess it doesn't matter because Aftermath has still managed to take control back of the river, but still some time on Ikazuki. 45 seconds on the Dragon. We'll be here in time, and it's going to be another 5v5 in this bottom side river.
Yeah, I definitely, I feel like that was a missed opportunity for Rocky Road, because you had the 4v5 power play. You used teleport from Kanye to be able to make that play onto 5th, but you didn't get any vision in the river, and now you're going to get potentially engaged upon. Thundermic Buster is going to be down to half HP. The Swirl Seed will not land. So now your jungler is at half HP with this Dragon spawning in 15 seconds.
Yeah, if that Swirl Seed landed, it would have hit 3, and that could have been the opportunity there to turn that fight and just with a giant sleep from Thunder. But either way, look at 5th on the backside flank here, and they're going to look for a fight. It's going to happen. Wayne ulti stolen away.
They want it, as the Hextech Drake is now spawned. Thundermic Busters is still at half HP, but they're looking to find what they can. 5th is going to be able to get the stun onto Fat Jester, so the Magnetstorm doesn't come through. Thundermic Buster is going to go golden and is still alive. Shutdown on to Convey, as 5th will take that one. Animan is going to be taking one against Fat Jester. That's a double kill for the Jinx. Kanye is so low, will die to Solus, but that is not the story of this battle. It is a chapter in Mint Gaming Rocky Road's history that will go down in glory. It's an ace against TD Aftermath.
And Animantis in that fight was able to stay alive and dealt so much damage in that tight corridor. Thundermic Busters with a nice sleep coming through as well here, and just a bit of overextension. Fat Jester just kind of running in for fun. Nice parry coming through from 5th, but going in, getting chunked out really low, and the rest of the team kind of felt like they needed to follow up with that engage. A lot of the times we see it a lot where a non-advantageous engage comes through, and then the rest of the team tries to follow up and make up for it, and that's exactly what we saw there. And Mint Gaming Mint Gaming taking advantage of the TDA overextension there and delaying the soul even further, and now they have the gold lead.
Yeah, for the first time in the game, it is gold lead for Mint Gaming Rocky Road, and they have the chance to potentially continue to keep that going with Baron now spawned. And this is a really solid position for Rocky Road as well. You've got 3 items on Adamantis, you've got 3 items on Kanye, you've got almost 3 items on Thunder McBusters. You're feeling really good moving into a potential Baron play. That's going to be potentially another 5v5. As Adamantis is going to get hit by the Shadow Surge, going to be disaster for Rocky Road as Buckbeat is going to be the savior that TDA needed. Fifth is going to be on the ropes as all 5 members of TDA are looking to be able to go in against them. He will be able to walk away, but huge pick once again against Adamantis.
Again, Buck B with the Shadow Surge finding the target. And this should be Baron for for TDA. As the numbers advantage here, you send Fifth into this bottom side, try to get some towers, but Buckby is going to be there. Both of these side laners are going to have the TP coming through as the tier 2 will fall. But the Baron, full control here for TDA, and we'll see as the fight coming through.
Fat Jester is going to be the target of the Magnustorm's going to come in. All 3 members of Mint Gaming Rocky Road. Thunder McBusters will go golden along with Kanye. They're going to be able to get a lot of damage onto Fat Jester, Solus, and Convey, but it won't be enough. Souls will take down Kanye. The teleport's going to come through from Fifth. The parry's going to land to get the stun, but Igazuki is unfazed. Fifth will fall. Shut down for Fifth as 3 members of Rocky Road go down.
I think this can be the game here. They have Baron up. TDA trying to push down mid. 4 members strong rather. They have a cannon, but it's pretty low HP.
It's that one cannon. It's that one cannon against the world, but Buffy is just too good with these Shadow Surges. Not going to be able to get the fear on Adamantis, though, so he will survive to potentially defend the Nexus, but the inhibitor will go down. Flash has been consumed by Adamantis, and rather than potentially risking the game on a Nexus push, TDA will back off, will give Mint Gaming Rocky Road the chance to live another day.
Yeah, and I think this is a good call here. Everyone has over 1,000 gold to spend. Ikazuki, almost 3,000 gold to spend in the inventory there, so these spikes are going to be huge. They're in no rush to end this game. They still have the Baron for a little bit longer, and they're not going to have an issue, you know, resetting and getting back out on the map to prep for another potential Hextech Soul coming up in about a minute and a half. Mint Gaming, they're doing pretty well with this defense, but again, you know, Buck B finding the mark, Adamantis a little bit too far forward, getting hit with these Vex ultis, and it has definitely, you know, been enough. But you can never count out the Jinx in the fight here. Has the stopwatch available. Super solid pickup there. As you know, if you get hit by that Shadow Surge, you are going to get one-shotted.
Yeah, I mean, you needed that like 3 fights ago if you're Adamantis, but you didn't have the gold in order to do it. And now you're looking at TD Aftermath with Baron, so you do have to respect that if you want to go into the river. And if anyone gets picked off now, that is going to be Hextech Soul, and that is a huge power spike. The extra static shiv, the slow, the ability haste that Hextech Souls provide is massive. And so we're going to have to see how the dance is going to be played out here for Mint Gaming Rocky Road, because if they can't get river control, they're going to have to contend with Baron for a couple of seconds. And that Dragon's not the strongest boy. He'll go down super quick.
Here we go. Dragon spawning in 10. And you can see everyone's back in this bottom side. It's going to be 5v5, and a nice... Look at this angle from Buckby around the back side of the pit. Does have access to the backline if that Shadow Surge can hit, and you know it's going to be time.
Yeah, they're going to look for it. Kanye does have the Rel ultimate to be able to use, but the Shadow is going to land on the Fifth, and the Magnustorm's going to come in as well, as Adamantis goes golden with less than 1 HP, will end up going down, makes it a 1-for-1 with that Fat Jester dying. Fifth is now so low, will fall as well. Slide Truck's going to fall. It's a double kill, triple kill for Ikazuki, as Thunder McBuster's going to try to do what he can, but Ikazuki wants the Quadra. He will get it. He will get the ace, and TDA will take the Hextech Soul. He'll take 5 kills. They'll take a win against Mint Gaming Rocky Road.
Yes, and huge play from Ikazuki there in that fight, basically untouched the entire time, able to free hit, picking up the Quadra for themselves here, reaping the benefits. They're wearing the soul, but it doesn't matter as the TP now comes through from Buck B, and TDA, I never doubted them, are gonna break this MG undefeated record here.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest game. It was definitely a valiant defeat for Mint Gaming Rocky Road, but in the end, TD Aftermath with just such a commanding early game lead and so much just resilience to not let the mid to late game spike from Mint Gaming Rocky Road turn them down. They will take the first win against Mint Gaming Rocky Road. No one is undefeated now in Group A, and it's a huge win for TD Aftermath, giving them a big leg up in being able to make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a huge confidence booster there for TDA. Able to get the win over the undefeated squad, able to start off the day strong. And you know what? They
I'm
they had it in
back,
the bag.
and I'm back, and I'm here, and that was nuts. That last team fight. Oh my god. I was I was watching and I was like, oh, okay, mid game, they're gonna get it. They're gonna do it. Like Jinx is gonna do it. But they couldn't get the vein. Despite all that dive. Oh well, actually TDA had all the dive. So they were able to like keep the Jinx out of they were able to collapse onto the Jinx and everything, but yeah, man, Mick Gaming just could not get onto the Vayne. And Vayne just did what Vayne's gonna do, you know. In the late game, started kiting everybody out, getting that true damage, and taking them out one by one. It was just really MGR's final hour for sure. And with that being said, like you guys said, it's now a loss for our first place team right now in the standings. And that really just changes the entire group just a little bit, you know. Now TDA, they are 2-2. Um, and that's just gonna make this group a lot more exciting. We're still waiting to see who's gonna win between Chef and CB Ibiza here, Team Kitchen and CB Ibiza. So once we have a winner for that group as well, that will place two teams at 2-2, and that will really start to shape up how this group will look in terms of tiebreakers and things like that. Oh man, this is exciting. I can't wait. But let's talk about this game a little bit. Since we're still waiting for that other game to conclude, what do we think went wrong for the Rocky Road team?
And I mean, I talked about this during the game a
Mhm,
lot, and I think, of course, we got to bring it up again here. Is just Animantis being a little bit too far forward in some of these plays, overextending in the side lanes, or in mid lane rather, just getting caught by the snipes from Buckby with the shadow surge.
mhm,
That lost Mint Gaming a lot of priority and a lot of control in these neutral objective plays, and because of that, I mean, TDA was able to just snowball the game and ended up having a pretty substantial lead. Despite all the of the solo queue plays that ended up happening. But either way, I mean, they were in full control, and a lot of it was off the fact of Buck being able to find Animentus so many times.
I 100% agree. I think that we have to go back even further to the very early stages of the game. You had multiple kills on the Buckby before 10 minutes. First hour going down against fifth into Convey and Ikazuki's hands at 11 minutes. The gold lead was never really in favor of Mint Gaming Rocky Road until past the 30-minute mark, which just allowed TD Aftermath to control how the game was played. Yes, they had a
mhm.
couple of sloppy team fights that resulted in them potentially falling behind, but the lead was just too strong. And Buckby was, I mean, for lack of a better term, in the late stages of the game, had Buckby not been there with the just incredible shadow
Mhm.
surges, getting those picks when needed, I don't know that they would have been able to win that game. A really clutch pick, which I think raises the question that I want to know from you, Redacted. Did Mint Gaming Rocky Road outplay themselves in draft? Was this game, over from the start,
Hmm.
considering what we see now?
You know, and now as soon as you asked me that question, I just pulled up the draft low link just to look at what they drafted again. You know, first drafting the Jinx and the Nautilus, and then the Viego Swain Rel. So I I can kind of agree with you. I don't know if Lilia would have been the right pick. As soon as you see all that dive, coming onto your back line, I would have probably picked something a bit more tankier or that has something more type of CC or disengage that would dissuade them. I don't know what that would be. Maybe Zinzao, J4, um, Amumu, Rammus. I don't know. Sedge, actually. Like,
Volley.
yeah, volley there. Yeah, thank you. I was like, Wukong was banned. Never mind. Okay, I was like, was Wukong open? Because I would have probably picked that too. Just I don't know if Lilia pick was the correct pick for the jungle there. I'm not saying it was um the reason why they failed. I just don't think that pick was the best option for their draft once you see all that engage and whatnot. Um, I don't really have an issue with Fiora because top lane is kind of an island per se, like that we've seen throughout the entire meta so far in the split and seasons. So yeah, I think if you wanted to go for a 4-1 composition and you knew you wanted to draft Fiora at some point, then you should have kind of thought a little bit better about how everything else would have played. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on the draft.
I mean, I think just looking at the compositions in general, right? TD
Yeah,
Aftermath's comp is so much easier to execute
yeah,
than Mid
that
Gaming
too.
Rocky Road, and
Hmm.
depending on the level of play and depending on what elos we're actually playing at, I mean, the ease of execution is very important. I mean, even looking at pro play,
Yeah,
right? Ease of execution on your composition is super important, and especially at this elo, I think I mentioned this earlier. Is it's really hard to play a 4-1 comp, under diamond, even in diamond, because it's so easy to just mistime the waves, mistime your plays, overextend a little bit too far and get engaged on. I mean, it's very, very hard to play these compositions effectively, even in competitive. So,
yep.
I mean, I think you can't really look to, and maybe Mint Gaming had scrims or something that they felt that they could play this effectively, but
Mhm.
Aftermath doing what they needed to do to get the job done, and takes away that 0 from the loss column. So
Yeah, and like you said, right, Chains too. Also, actually, hold that thought. We just got our next match result in CB Ibiza beat Team Kitchen, so they are now 2-2 as well, and that puts Kitchen at 1-3. So that also changes what our scenarios are looking like. Oh, wow, okay, it's starting to
Oh
shape up.
shoot! Oh
Oh
shoot!
man, it's starting to
Massive,
shape up. Starting to
massive
shape up
win.
here.
Yeah, massive win there for CB Ibiza. I just we're gonna take a break here in a quick second,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I wanna highlight this right now because this is such an important moment now in Group A where Mint Gaming Rocky Road only needs to win one game to make it into the playoffs. CB Ibiza losing this battle, it just puts them so behind the eight ball. They still have to go up against Mint Gaming Rocky Road, and they have to go up against TD Aftermath, which just took a win against Mint Gaming Rocky Road. Like, I'm sorry, Kitchen. Kitchen was the
yeah.
one that
Kitchen.
fell
I was like,
short.
wait,
Kitchen fell
CB
short. Yeah,
Ibiza
yeah,
just
yeah.
won.
Yeah, CB Ibiza just won.
Yeah,
So, at this point, like, we look back at this game, and I don't want to discredit what TD Aftermath was able to do. Gaming Rocky Road played a poor early game, and they bounced back in the mid game, and they could have very easily won that game, which
yeah.
definitely shows their resilience and how strong they are in being able to close games out even from behind. So I think my expectation still stands that Mint Gaming Rocky Road will be making it into the playoffs, which now puts Kitchen in such a behind the eight ball moment that if they want to win this game, they need an active COD at this point to potentially make it into a tiebreaker.
They're gonna need a tiebreaker now. I think at this point, look, just playing with the tool I'm looking at here, I think they're gonna need Mint Gaming to have a few more L's.
Yeah, 100%. I think all teams are looking for that.
Yeah, yeah. But we will cut to a short break here as we prepare for game two, which will be Mint Gaming Rocky Road versus Team CB Ibiza. That one is going to be very exciting because the Ibiza squad is fighting literally for their playoff lives here. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it, and we'll be right back.